Hey there, hockey fans. Welcome into another matchup wrap, as this is Pat Strong, joined by the voice himself, Rhett McGibbon. And unfortunately, this one comes in dire straits because of unfortunate news with everything being canceled because of COVID-19. We're going to talk first about the men's teams, the men's Division 1 and D2, and then we'll do one on the ladies. But yeah, Rhett, let's talk first back going to the ESCHL playoffs for the Division 1 men's team. Yeah. Obviously, this was a group. We talked about how tough that tournament was going to be for them because all the teams going in were ranked. But even more so, you could tell, even after the Flames won it, they knew there was something else that they were going to be chasing. And it kind of showed in their play and then even also their celebration because they knew there was more to the season.
Yeah, you know, that win against Delaware, it was kind of a sloppy win for them, but you win 4-2. But then the Flames woke up, and the next game they come in and they win 4-0.
Yep.
Cedric Lessier played amazing in that game. Wasn't supposed to play. Didn't think he was going to play.
Kind
of got the late call to go in net and was lights out. Had a huge glove save in that game. And so, yeah, you see the guys. They go through the line. They celebrate the fact that they've won the ESCHL Conference Championship 3 of the last 4 years. But you could tell it was businesslike. They thought there was a next step in line for them, and this is a team that was regarded as a lot of people thought they were going to be national championship contenders. And just like that, it's all taken away.
Yeah, and obviously this was not an easy decision for the ACHA, and I think a lot of people are thinking, oh, you kind of wish they had postponed it, but now with everything around spring sports related and all of these winter championships being canceled. Talk a little bit about just like the fact that it kind of just, the hammer was dropped just all of a sudden, and like just probably the emotional side, because you've been a former coach when the season ends and like thinking more things are supposed to happen, like just the emotions that guys have gone through.
I just think, you know, let's make this broad about all of the ACHA
for sure.
And how many guys you don't realize you just played your last game. Like that, I think that's tough because you kind of go through emotional aspects when you get into the national tournament for the D1 level and it's one and done. You know, okay, all right, this may be my last game. So while you're still focused, dialed in, you kind of prepare yourself emotionally that this could be the last time I step on the ice with my guys. And you think about it for Liberty, you had so many seniors, 12 plus seniors that go out there in that game. They win their last game, which is awesome. You celebrate a national championship together, or pardon me, a conference championship together, but then you think you're moving on, and all of a sudden somebody has to tell you, you probably find out via Twitter, that your season's done. And I think that's just a tough punch in the gut to take. And you saw how many guys just on Twitter throughout the ACHA were just thanking the league, thanking their coaches just for the time spent, but you could also just feel the sorrow through the message. I know it's just text, but you can just feel the way they wrote it. You could sense that there's a lot of unfinished business out there for these guys, and you feel bad for them and it was the right decision. Like, I'm not taking anything away from that in the ACHA. You needed to close it down and cancel it, especially with NCAA spring sports being canceled. It was the right call to make, but it's just so tough for 100-plus seniors throughout this league that have their hockey career ended prematurely.
Oh, ending prematurely indeed. And as you were just talking about, I mean, there were so many teams through all the men's ranks, as you were just saying, Division 1, 2, and 3 that had some senior-laden rosters. Take a look at Lindenwood Division 2. They were number 1 in the country at the time, and that was a group that had about 10 seniors on their roster too.
Tough.
So that is tough because they were the favorite for Division 2. But yeah, let's move on. Talk a little bit about the men's Division 2 team, because different spectrum for them. Because we talked about D1, how senior-laden and all that, like you said, 10-plus seniors. D2, though, even though they're losing a handful of guys, still coming back for them. So it's unfortunate because they knew they were in the chance to win, but that's a year off of a championship window for those guys.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. You have your championship window, you think you've got 3 years with this core, and then boom, all of a sudden one's just taken away. But the bright spot, like you said, Pat, is this is a group in the men's D2 team that brings back just a ton. Flanders come back, Nieder's coming back. You have a lot of your core talent that's returning to this team, and they should be in the exact same scenario next year. And that's good for the D2 team.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about also, because it has affected more things outside of just, you take a look at the spectrum of the national tournament, you got to think of recruitment visits are being recalled. You can't, as I said, guys coming onto campus, recruitment camps being canceled. So talk a little bit about how that affects just the spectrum of getting guys on campus, because that's how a lot of these universities, basically, that's how you sell the school and sell the program.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting times because there's so many different ways I can take this. Obviously, coaches are probably going to rely on websites like Huddle a lot more. And
Yep.
you're going to do a lot more video scouting. In previous years, we've seen the Liberty coaching staff, they're out and about in the springtime, bringing people in. But I think the one area that Liberty's going to be okay in is Kirk and his staff do a great job of getting out on the roads and bringing kids in early. And you've seen the press releases. The Flames have had a lot of people put pen to paper and say, yeah, hey, we're coming to Liberty in the fall. If you get some coaches out there that kind of leave that to late spring and the summer to lock in their recruits, you're going to be hurting.
Yeah.
And it's going to be an interesting time next year just to see where people go. And a great aspect you're saying is, for LU, you want people to come in and see your rink. That's not going to be the case this summer. Well, it could still be the case this summer, but right now when hockey season's kind of ending in the spring and you want to get those kids fresh off their season coming in to see where they want their new home to be, that's not going to happen anywhere. So a lot of it's going to be how you build a relationship over the phone and just how you're able to sell your program and what they have via virtual tours, essentially.
And I know one aspect that is kind of unique, and what you like to see for the NCAA, they have allowed, and some other teams such as the MCLA for lacrosse, they're allowing guys to kind of get an asterisk for this year for the spring sports. Would you like to see potentially the ACHA maybe do that same thing for the different teams that have been competing?
Absolutely not. And this is why.
Okay.
Yes, for the teams heading to the national tournament, you really wish that these guys could get an opportunity to fight for that national championship. But what about every single team that had their season that was done?
Yeah.
There's so more teams that made it to the national championship, obviously.
Very true.
They're done. And so you can't give them an extra year, and they have the right to complain, hey, what about us? We'd like to, for our seniors to have another crack at it. So no, you have to leave it status quo. It's unfortunate that 2020 is not going to have a national champion, but that's just how life works sometimes, and I think the ACHA has done the right thing. It was a tough call to make, but good on them for doing so.
One more factor, since the 2020 won't have a national champion, we see sometimes obviously the undisclosed or kind of teams giving themselves the champion. Obviously, we've seen it with the UCF Knights in football. They did it themselves. So you think the number one team should be the ones that are considered the national champions, or you think, no, that's just an asterisk year?
That's a great call. I'll leave that up to the teams. Throw it in there, because you got a handful of teams that I think could say, hey, we're national champs. Like Liberty could say we beat Adrian say we beat Liberty. Yeah, it could be fun. That's a whole nother video that we should do. Anyways.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah. Obviously, he gave you a good political answer right there. Keeping it business as always. But thanks again, Ref, for sitting down with us. And definitely, as we want to commend the ACHA for what they did. Very solid showing by them to obviously provide safety for the athletes. And hopefully we'll be able to get everything turned around and hopefully have a 2021 champion. But Rhett, any final thoughts before we go?
No, I guess we'll see everybody in September. Hard to believe it's going to be that long without talking about hockey. But, maybe we can do some recruitment updates. That'd be fun. Let's do that idea. We'll chat with some recruits that are coming in here to LU that have locked in to be Flames and get to know them.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know who that is. Rhett McGibbon. I'm Pat Strong.